Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Jordan. Welcome to the channel where my goal is to help you find the right guitar for the music you write. Now, with that being said, today we're looking at a new Ibanez model that just came out in 2024 in January, and that is the Ibanez AAM series, which is an auditorium advanced acoustic. And I'm pretty excited about these. I was actually going to buy one of these, but then I looked on the Sweetwater website and they were pre-order. You can't just order one and have it shipped to your house right now. And I couldn't find a wait time on it, so I decided not to purchase one right now, but I am hoping to do a review of these in the future. Now, the first thing to know about this guitar is because it's an auditorium body style, it's gonna be roughly the same size as like a triple O, and the equivalents of that are across the board. Some call them folk, concerts, you name it. They're all kind of that smaller body style that's a little bit shallower than a dreadnought. And they also have a 25-inch scale length, which I think is interesting because that sits nicely right in between the 25.5 that's typical on most Martin and Taylors, and in between the 24 3/4, which is typical for a lot of Gibsons. Now, the tone woods they use out of these are pretty typical as far as the tops and the necks. The necks are made out of a mahogany type wood, and the tops are either solid sapele or solid spruce. But the back and sides get a little bit interesting because not only do they have their typical sapele back and sides, but they also have ebony back and sides, maple back and sides, African mahogany, and rosewood, which is not typical for Ibanez guitars, but it's really cool that some of these more budget-friendly guitars are getting cooler and cooler back and side tone woods. And there are two features that I think make these guitars stand out a little bit. First off, they have modified X bracing, which is specific for the advanced acoustic. And then the other thing that really sets these guitars apart is the new air port. And this is a new little sound hole that's on the top bout of the guitar. I guess you're supposed to be able to hear yourself play a little bit better, but these are a really interesting design because they have reflector boards on the inside of them that theoretically should move the tone outwards towards you in, kind of funneling it down in a way that it's going to actually move out towards you. I don't know if that actually works. I'm not a master in guitar building science. I would be curious to talk to an actual luthier and see if they thought this was going to change anything. But I still think it's a very interesting concept. What do you think about this one? Now, the two most interesting guitars in this lineup, in my opinion, are the AAM 54, which is pretty much a take on the AW 54. The other one that I think is super interesting is the AAM 370, which has electronics. That's what the E stands for on the end of the model number. And then it also comes with maple back and sides as well as a solid spruce top. Now, this is a beautiful guitar. I think if you are a pop player, this one would really complement nicely on stage, just going with the modern aesthetic of being a very clean looking guitar and probably a very bright and shiny acoustic guitar when you're not plugged in. Plugged in, it's going to sound pretty much like everything else does. And I should really quickly talk about the pickups that are in these, because the less expensive ones have a, just a piezo pickup underneath the saddle, which is fine. They sound like a piezo pickup plugged in, which can be good or bad depending on how you look at it and what you do in your acoustic guitar playing. And then some of the more expensive models have a contact pickup that sits underneath the bridge, which is a really nice addition if you're going to be doing finger styling and tapping. It really picks up those little nuances in your playing a lot better. However, I will say there's a lot smaller group of people that's really going to appeal to. With all that being said, my last question is, which players are going to buy these guitars? And I have two answers for that. First off, I think the more budget-friendly ones are going to sell better. And that is going to be the AAM 50 and the AAM 54, because they're that perfect body size and scale length for smaller players to be able to get their arm over and to be able to get their arm all the way out to the end of the neck. I think they'll do a lot better with these less expensive guitars than they will with the more expensive ones. And I'm guessing Ibanez probably produced a lot more of the inexpensive ones than they did the expensive ones for that reason. And secondly, I think outside of the 50 and the 54, I think the one that's going to sell the best is the AAM 370, the maple one. And that's purely because of what I said earlier. I think it's the best looking out of the entire bunch. And I think it's really going to appeal to pop musicians, especially who play acoustic guitar, because it's such a clean looking aesthetic. It really does look like an artistic guitar. It looks like a piece of art. Whereas the other ones just look like guitars, in my humble opinion. So let me know what you think about that down in the comments. With that, there's not a lot else I can say about these guitars except that I want to try one out as soon as I get a chance. So if you want to see that, please subscribe. Please give this video a thumbs up, and stick around and leave a comment about what you'd like to see on the channel. If there's a particular model that you would like to see, if enough people want a particular model, that might sway which one I decide to buy, if I decide to buy one of these and review it. So that would really help me out if you left a comment. That'd be awesome. But anyways, you guys have a great day. We'll see you soon. Take care.